Hi, welcome to Freezer Meals 101. I'm Charla.
And I'm Christy.
We are here for one of our big mega sessions, which I know that you guys love. We get a lot of feedback asking, like, when are you doing the next one? Mm-hmm. And you're not wrong. It has been longer than usual. It's been 4 months.
Yes, our last one was in March, and my freezer was getting pretty bare. I hadn't started having the freezer meal dreams. Have you had the freezer meal dreams?
Yes.
When our freezers get low and we start to dream about it because it's stressing us out. Because do you know why? We're going to have to think about what to make for dinner. And it's hard.
Yeah, and that is the best thing about freezer meals. Yes, it saves a ton of money. Yes, it saves a ton of time. But it's more like the mental load that's the thing.
Yes.
Like not having to think about what you're going to make every day. Not having to run to the store, it's just not having to do that planning.
Right? And I have the chicken, but I don't have the stuff to make the marinade. Well, it's all right there in your little package. You just pull it out and bam, done. Make some potatoes, make some pasta, you're good to go.
Or a lot of these, especially the ones we're making today, you
full
need to do
meal,
nothing.
Full meal, casseroles, and we've got a big variety this week, or this time.
Okay, we have a big variety, but when I was planning these, I chose a lot of meals that we've never done before.
A lot of new ones, which we love.
Yeah.
And you're gonna love, we hope.
Yes, and the reason that we do that also is because we test things. Before we put them in the club, which we'll tell you about in a second, we test things. And so we make sure that not only do they taste good, but like they can freeze and then be reheated or cooked.
And they still taste good. You don't want stuff that's mushy. You don't want stuff that's not going to freeze well or convert well into a freezer meal.
Exactly. So
we're your guinea pigs here.
Yeah, and we don't put anything there that we haven't tried ourselves and that isn't good and up to our standards. So one of the things though was just when I was planning it out, I don't know why I didn't notice, but a lot of the new recipes call for cooked cubed chicken. And so yesterday when we were doing prep, I cooked chicken for hours. Like I was cooking and cubing. It was like, and I was texting Christy. And for those of you who don't know, Christy lives a few doors down. We're neighbors and friends. Yay. And it's the best of all worlds. But I was texting her and I was like, remind me to never do this again. So for you, do as I say and not as I do. And what I say and have said in other videos is that you want to, when you're planning, you want to do some that are just really fast, like the dump recipes that take you 5 minutes to throw together and that have no prep. And then you can have some in there that do have more prep and that do take longer and have more ingredients and more vegetables and all that because you want a big variety, but you don't want to burn yourself out.
No, that's right. And with the prep, so it's great to have all that prepped because honestly, she put in the work yesterday. It took hours and hours, but today those are going to be so fast to put together and they're going to be even faster to cook up because it's just a reheat.
Totally. And so I'm going to be glad
you do the work at some point, right? Yeah. Like future Charla will be, and future Christy. Don't get me wrong. Christy's going to eat these too. We're pretty happy to have all of that work, but it is a lot of work. There is something that we do that you won't have to.
Oh, yes. Okay. So one of the hard things about doing one of these mega sessions is the planning as far as choosing the recipes and then making your shopping list. And the shopping list takes me the most time. Now, this is what one of my shopping lists looks like, and actually this is for this session. So I've got little tally marks and I've got a rough copy, and then I go and transfer that onto like good copy shopping list in the order that things are in the store and all organized. And so it takes me a long time to figure that out. And that's one of the things that Christy and I were talking about is
it holds people back. When I used to do freezer meals with friends before I met Charla, I would be the one, unfortunately, that would be in charge of the tally list. And that was a big mistake because we would have too much chicken or too little chicken or what are we going to do with all this ground beef? And Christy, where are the green peppers? So I was really glad to meet Charla because that's the type A in her. There's a few things that you I don't think you would give that up to me, even if
I like being organized.
She likes being organized. She likes doing it, and she's great at it. She's much more detail oriented than me. So she does. She has, you've seen it, this list of these tally marks, and then she has to break that out and give part to me, because I do the Costco list and she does the regular grocery store list.
So what we did, we talked about, okay, this is something that's holding people back. How can we make this easier for people? Because freezer meals save our sanity, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So we want you to be able to do this. And so we figured out, okay, if we could make it easy, if we could have a place where all the recipes are there, but only the ones that are tried and true,
mm-hmm.
and then they can just choose the recipes they want and choose the amount of servings. So if you're only cooking for 2, if you're cooking for a large family, if you're doubling the meals, if you're living alone, whatever your situation is, you can change the number of servings in each recipe, and then take that and create a shopping list.
And then, if you're allergic to broccoli, you can cross it off.
Totally. The shopping list is editable.
I would say most people are allergic to broccoli. She's actually allergic to broccoli. That's why I picked it. She's fun to tease.
Yeah.
But it does. It makes it so much easier for you as just regular people wanting to jump into freezer meals, and you think, I want to do that mega batch, but how do I start? Well, you start with the club and you go check, check, check. You pick these recipes and it generates a list for you with all of the ingredients, all of the amounts of the ingredients. It does make it so much easier. It's wonderful to have this list.
So we're going to put a link below for the Freezer Meals 101 Club.
Mm-hmm.
We hope you'll join us there. And when you get started, you can start with like a mega session and do it with a friend or family member or neighbor, or you can just double the meals, eat one that night, put one in the freezer, do that for a week and you'll have a week's worth of meals.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can just do a week here and there, a month's worth. Like, you can pick and choose what works for you.
Right before we started this session, maybe a week ago, we had somebody in the club messaging us saying, I want to do freezer meals just for camping. What a great idea. And she could go through and select them. Shout out to Rose.
And Rose, we hope you love the meals.
We hope you love the meals. And she was doing stuff to get ready for camping. And what a great idea. Or you have a surgery coming up and you want to be prepared and get some of that in your freezer so that it's easy and it's just reheat and go.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
So normally we do these sessions around 15% off day, which is the first Tuesday of the month. This time we are not. And yesterday when I looked at my grocery bill, I did the math on how much I would have saved
if we had done 15%
last
off
week,
day.
Or next week, sorry. But so I was a little sad, but it's for a happy reason because my daughter's having a baby next week. So
yes,
we cannot be doing freezer meals.
We hope it's next week, because if it's today,
yeah, we're in trouble.
We're in trouble.
Today we have a lot of stuff prepped and Christy's going to be cooking by herself.
Yes, that's the truth.
So hopefully there's no baby
She can bring
today.
her pool here. And just in between takes, you just go and
I'll go and
birth the baby and come
baby and come back. Anyway,
we'll edit
hopefully
it.
that won't happen.
We'll edit the sound out.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Gracie, good luck. We love you. Actually, this will be hitting the airwaves right around the time that she's probably having her baby. So,
Totally.
So we'll give you an update in the text at the end if there's a baby. How about that?
Yes, I will update the video because it'll take me a little bit to edit this. So you'll be watching this when maybe I'm already a grandma. So that would be super exciting.
Charla.
Isn't that weird?
A little.
Yeah.
We're too old, too young to be grandmas.
I am definitely too young to be a grandma. But I'm excited and thrilled and it's awesome. Okay, we are going off on a tangent, and so
back to the cooking.
We're going to get cooking. We are planning over 100 meals and we'll see what number we hit. And we're planning lots of new recipes and some of our just staples have to have them.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
yeah, we're excited. The only thing that might be a little, other than the baby, the only thing that might be a little bit different than usual is there's a bit of a heat wave where we are. We're in Canada and we don't get those often. And so we're going to be running a fan, and because we don't have air conditioning because we're in Canada. And so,
there are people that have air conditioning in Canada.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know it does exist here before you get all excited about living in the igloos and stuff. We have regular houses, just it's a big expanse for something we don't use very often. So we usually just suffer through those really hot days with fans. Some people do have air conditioning. Yes, it is a thing here. Just want to let you know before we hear about it in the comments. What? Canadians don't have air conditioning.
Yes, that's true. And depending on where you live in Canada, some places it's very common to have air conditioning. So just to say that. But yeah, we're gonna get to the meals, but yeah, that's just to explain why if you see us like sweating at the end of the day
we're already sweating. Maybe you can't tell because we look like we're glowing, but there's sweating happening.
So yeah, here we go. I always like to start with the freezer meals that use things that are already frozen, because that way I can get them out of the freezer and make space for the meals that need to go in there. So today I'm starting with the Tater Tot Casserole, because then I'm using the tater tots that were in the freezer. That's 4 bags of tater tots, so that makes up quite a bit of space. I'll probably move on to the beef hash next, because then I can use the frozen hash browns. So with the tater tot casserole, I've got the tater tots in the bag, and then I'm mixing together some evaporated milk, mushroom soup, some paprika and pepper. Could not be easier as far as that. It's not all that healthy, but my kids adore this one. Some of them, it's their absolute favorite. And I should have used a larger bowl. I'm gonna be whisking very carefully. And then in a medium-sized bag, I am putting some ground sausage that's already cooked, and I'm using spicy for our family and mild for Christy's family. And then I'm going to staple that bag to the large bag, and that way on the day I go to cook it, I can put that on the bottom of the casserole, top it with the actual tater tot mixture, and it can bake. You'll notice that I have a 1 cup measure in the ground sausage. We do that on our big freezer meal days. We put a 1 cup into each of our ground meats, like the ground beef and that kind of thing, so that we can just measure it out. 2 1/3 cups equals 1 pound. So when your recipe calls for 1 pound, you know that you're gonna do 2 2 2/3 cups. So yeah, 2 2/3 cups equals 1 pound. So when your recipe calls for 1 pound of ground beef or 1 pound of ground sausage, then you can be just measuring that out with the measuring scoop that's in there. It's a lot handier for us to just keep it in there all day. And so there you have it, Tater Tot Casserole. For the beef hash, I've gone ahead and put half of a 1 kilogram bag into each of our 4 large resealable freezer bags. And I'm gonna be adding ground beef, finely chopped onion, dry onion soup mix, beef broth, and pepper. And then in a medium-sized bag, I'm gonna be putting some shredded cheddar cheese. That way on the day that we cook this, we can top it with the cheese. I'll be stapling those bags together so that everything is where it needs to be on the day that you go to make this. You can find this recipe down in the description box below.
I am going to make our world famous red sauce, and asterisk, it's only available if you join the club. We have so many recipes that are going to require red sauce today. Spaghetti sauce, manicotti. I can't think of what else off the top of my head.
Meatball Subs.
The Meatball Subs. Oh my gosh, the Meatball Subs. All of these are going to require red sauce today. It is a huge recipe. We do a big batch of it and it is delicious. So I'm gonna get my son over here opening cans for me because it's a big one. It's got tomato paste and it's got parsley and onion and garlic, a little bit of sugar and salt and some basil, oregano, and thyme, tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, and that's it. And it's awesome. And it's so good. Oh, it's got a bit of water in it to make it, saucier. You can put this on pizza, you can put this on spaghetti, you can put this on toast and eat it. You could probably drain it and put it on bruschetta to make bruschetta. Like lazy bruschetta. Seriously, lazy bruschetta. Lots of things you can do with red sauce, and it's magnificent. So join the club, and you can have it too.
The last time we did freezer meals, we tried these Thai chicken chili lettuce wraps, and they were darn good. They taste like restaurant food at home, and there's actually a restaurant where I used to love ordering their lettuce wraps, and then they went and changed the recipe, and the new recipe isn't good at all. So this is a way that we can make them at home, and I don't have to worry about that restaurant changing their recipe. We're using ground chicken. Now, I forgot to film making the sauce, but I don't know. Can you see that? So all I've got in there is Thai sweet chili sauce and lime juice and sesame seeds. That's it. We're going to attach the sauce. We put them in medium bags to the large bag so that on the day that we go to serve this, we have everything we need, other than, of course, you're gonna use lettuce to do your lettuce wraps in. But for the main filling, we've got ground chicken that's already cooked, some garlic, onion, cashews, carrots that are in matchsticks, red peppers, fish sauce, soy sauce, and that's it. On the day you serve these, you're gonna serve them in lettuce leaves with some steam fried noodles, just raw steam fried noodles for that great crunch. And if you want, you can toss some cilantro on top. These are pretty amazing.
I am going to make meatball subs. This is the first time we have done this recipe, and I have a little secret to tell you. I used to work at Subway. It was like my first real job ever, and I tried all the different subs, and to this day, there are sometimes I go in and I just really crave a meatball sub. So I mentioned it to Charlotte that I love meatball subs, and bless her, she found a recipe. So we are gonna make meatball subs. We kind of counted it out, and the baguettes that we're using, they're gonna be divided into 3, and each section of baguette can handle 4 meatballs. So each baguette is gonna have 12 meatballs. We're doing 2 baguettes. I'm putting 24 meatballs in these bags. So sorry for the math, but that's how we figured it out. It also has some Italian herb seasoning. We are going to use our famous red sauce that you can only get in the club. A cup of mozzarella that's shredded, and then we're going to put that in a separate bag so it can be added at the time of cooking. And then I'm actually going to have the baguettes here today. We're going to cut them into thirds, cut those in half, and I'm going to put garlic butter on them. And we can freeze those so it's all ready to assemble and bake on the day that you're going to make it. Let's see how this turns out.
I think it's gonna be amazing.
It is gonna be amazing.
And you get your meatball subs.
we are partway through, and
Day 1.
partway through day 1. This is the day that never ends. It goes on and on.
We're having fun.
We are. We aren't tired yet, and we haven't got the sillies yet.
No, not totally.
Not totally. We're
We
a
always
little
have
silly.
them a little bit, but
Yeah. That's part of the fun of doing it with a friend.
totally.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to pop in and just talk a little bit about how freezer meals can save you money, which is like you're not going to the store as often, you're not eating fast food, you're not getting pizza takeout or
It even
any
saves on
takeout.
gas.
Not
Really.
doing convenience food totally saves on gas, and then you're able to buy in bulk. There's all these things, and we made a video for you, so we're gonna put it over there. And that video is not only how freezer meals saves you money, because it saves a ton, but how to save more money. Like when we went and bought these groceries yesterday, yes, we didn't get the 15% off this time, but we still saved so much. And actually, I had one of my sons with me, and he's getting older, so he is eventually gonna have to buy his own groceries and have his own place and all of that. Not yet, but you know, we're getting to that stage where it's in sight. And so I was teaching him some of my tips and tricks, and I think he was pretty surprised by how much money you can save when you're just a little more conscious.
Even me at Costco yesterday, I texted Charla. A funny thing about Costco, and maybe it's all the time, it's been like this for a while, where the mozzarella that's shredded is cheaper than the mozzarella in the block. And the first time I noticed that, I'm like, my mind was blown, because that doesn't make any sense. Because shredded cheese you would think would be more expensive than a block of cheese.
And the work's done for you.
And the work is done for you. And so yes, please, I will buy bags of shredded cheese. But I did the math yesterday, and Costco does make it easy for you because it tells you how much it is per 100 grams. But finally, a block of cheese was cheaper than the shredded cheese. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'm shredding the matzah, and that's okay. We did it. I suffered through. My son helped me. He's 12. And but yes, you have to be aware of those little things. We can't just go willy-nilly through the grocery store picking stuff up.
Oh my goodness, grocery prices are getting insane.
And even what my cost was, and I know it's hard to compare shop to shop for the big for the mega sessions, because we do vary what we have so much, but it was easily $200 to $300 more than what I would have been spending 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, and that's with being, you know, conscious of money saving.
These meals will last us for 3 months, so, you know,
Yes.
so worth it.
Don't scare you off. It does cost a bit up front, you know, but yes, you average that out over the 3 months and all the meals that we're making, peanuts compared to doing it weekly.
But
or
just
stopping every day at the grocery store, right?
with things going up so much in price, you do need to be aware. So you can check that video out. And in the meantime, make freezer meals, because it'll save you so much, well, time, money, and sanity.
Yay!
Let's get back to the meals.
I'm gonna make something we haven't made for a really long time. Manicotti. It's got cottage cheese, and then you add an egg into it, so it's kind of a binding agent. And then you add the mozzarella cheese right into it, and it's got Parmesan cheese and salt and pepper and nutmeg. We use the manicotti uncooked. You can use the oven ready or no bake pasta, but in this case we have just the regular pasta. And it's got a lot of pasta sauce. So we're gonna do this, normally we do things in a bag. This one, it makes sense to do it in a foil tray. And we can put the sauce in the bottom, and then the stuffed manicotti in on top of it. And then we can put the foil on top, and you just bake it right in. You just thaw it and bake it right then. You bake it 350 for 45 minutes. If you bake it from frozen, you can do it for an hour and 10 minutes and it'll work. Just make sure your noodles are tender, and they are delicious. We haven't made these in a long time, and I'm glad that we're making them for you today.
A very long time ago, my friend Julie used to make this recipe for stuffed shells, and I started making it, and I've done it a few times as a freezer meal, but it's kind of a bit of work with cooking the shells, cooking the chicken, all that kind of stuff. So if you're gonna do it, it's hardly any extra work to make more of them, and that way you can have more for the same amount of work. Anyway, so we are doing Alfredo chicken stuffed shells. Christy's are gonna have broccoli in them, and mine are going to have peas. I was gonna do asparagus, but I have a lot of frozen peas, so I'm just gonna use those up and do peas. I'm also gonna put some cheese in there. So we're doing a jar of Alfredo, some cooked cube chicken, probably throw a little bit of garlic in there because why not? And the mozzarella cheese, you could do cheddar also, or instead of, and then whatever vegetable between broccoli, asparagus, and peas. So there you have it. We're gonna mix the mixture together, and then we're gonna stuff the shells. We're gonna cover it first with plastic wrap, then with foil. The day that you bake it, you're gonna wanna take the plastic wrap off, of course, first, and then get that baked in the oven. So for both the manicotti and the stuffed shells, we ended up with some extra. So I've just gone ahead and made some individual size containers so that we can have those either for lunches or we can give them to our parents. Christy might give one to her father-in-law and I might give one to my dad. Anyway, there you go. Beautiful individual size shells and manicotti.
I'm gonna make one of our recent favorites. It is layered ravioli bake, or ravioli lasagna, sometimes we call it. It's my daughter's favorite because A, it's easy, and B, it's delicious. I'm starting with 2 trays with a little bit of red sauce in the bottom already. Then I'm going to take the ravioli. The ones we're doing for Charla in these trays are butternut squash ravioli, and they're already frozen, so we're gonna make a layer. And then I've mixed up ricotta with a little bit of Italian seasoning, and there's supposed to be chopped up spinach in that, but you know what? We forgot the spinach. It didn't end up on anybody's list, so we have no spinach today. We're gonna pretend there's spinach in it. We're gonna layers the half of ricotta mixture on there, sprinkle some mozzarella cheese, and then another layer of ravioli, another layer of the ricotta, and another layer of the mozzarella cheese, and then we're going to top it with a bit of Parmesan and then freeze it like that. It's going to go in the oven at 400, and once it's thawed, you put it in at 400 and you bake it for 20 minutes with the cover, and then another 25 minutes without the cover, and then you just eat it like a lasagna, and it is really delicious. Now I have a confession to make. We don't have enough foil trays. Charlotte really cares that it's layered. Well, it should be layered. That's called ravioli layered lasagna. But I'm gonna give it a try in the old freezer bag and see how it goes. And we'll just dump it out in a casserole and it all ends up in the same place in the end, right?
What is there to say about spaghetti sauce? It's spaghetti sauce, but it's awesome to have it in your freezer and have it ready, and it's homemade, which makes it great. And it's using the red sauce, which has such great depth of flavor, and really this is way better than a store-bought sauce. So We're gonna do ground beef. Now in mine, I have veggie beef. In Christie's, I have actual ground beef. And then we're doing some garlic, onion, green pepper, and red sauce. And just like that, we've got spaghetti sauce. Next, I am making Mongolian beef. Now, I was planning on making 4 of these, but when I got to the store, they didn't have beef stir-fry strips. So I asked if they could cut them for me, and they apparently must not have had a lot of roast left because I didn't notice until I got home, but the 4th pack was so itty bitty and just had a few little strips in it. So I've distributed those strips into the other packs, and we're just gonna make 3 bags, and Christy will take the extra home with her since I don't eat beef and my family loves beef, but we've got enough beef happening for them this freezer meal session. So anyway, Mongolian beef, you can find the recipe in the links down below. And I'm gonna have the beef strips, ginger, garlic, soy sauce, water, a little bit of brown sugar, some carrots cut again into matchsticks, and some green onions. And then on the day that you cook this one, and it cooks up so fast because it's strips in a skillet, all you're gonna do is add a little bit of cornstarch to thicken that up. Now, cornstarch does not freeze well. It separates if you put it into a sauce. In general, there's a few exceptions, but in general it separates, and so that's why we add it on the day of cooking. So there you have it. Okay, Christy and I have been talking today a little bit about the Great Canadian Baker. The Great Canadian Bake Show? What's that called?
The Great Canadian Baking Show.
It is so great, and I don't know if you get it if you're in the US, but it's on Netflix here in Canada, and I'm sure that you could stream it somewhere. They've had lots of seasons.
Do you know, it's just like the Great British Baking Show, which I think is on Netflix in the States. We don't have it on our Netflix, but I think you can like watch it on CBC.
Okay.
If you have CBC Gem, you can, but it's just like that. So they know what it, because it's super popular.
Okay,
they understand what it is. But
so
here's the Canadian thing about it.
It is so sweet. Like, they help each other. Like, when it's a competition, but when one of them is struggling and like failing, like their cake is gonna fall, or like the piece broke or whatever, like somebody runs over and helps them hold it, or so, like they will say to each other like, I'm finished, is there something I can help you with?
Yes, help me decorate these cookies, or help me take these out of the pan, or put some raspberries there.
It's so awesome, and they're just so sweet, and you just like, you're
and the
rooting
hosts
for them.
are enjoyable. And if you ever watch the first season, Dan Levy is one of the hosts. Everybody loves Dan Levy.
It's just, anyway.
So good. It's so good. Is that what you stopped everybody to tell? That's what you stopped us to tell everybody?
Well, I just was like, so when we do these big mega marathon meals, like
we talk about everything.
We talk about so many things, and you guys aren't really privy to those conversations. And if you don't want to hear what we're talking about, then fast forward this part and you can get to more of our recipes that we're making. But I just thought, like, this is the kind of thing we talk about.
And okay, and I'm just gonna say it, we love Amanda and Steven and their like platonic romance. Like they were just such good friends.
It's sweet.
It's so sweet.
Anyway, that's the current season. And
that's on Netflix. It's not the current season that's like actively airing.
Okay.
Or whatever, because you know how Netflix is a season behind.
Yeah.
So good.
Anyway, it's sweet, and like here we are cooking, and we're encouraging each other, and we're like encouraging you, like, you guys can do this. You can make freezer meals for your family. And so I feel like we're trying to channel like the Great Canadian Baking Show.
You're so funny. It's not wrong. She's like, wait a minute, I'm gonna set up the camera different. I just need to say this.
Anyway, back to our regular scheduled programming.
That's true. I'm chopping pickles. It's good stuff.
And there is Christy chopping her pickles. I'm going to show you our big setup. So,
oh, we got a mess going on here.
We've got a fan over there, a Dyson, because it's hot today, and I've got a freezer meal, ironically, from last session in that crock pot over by the fan. And Christy's got
Have you ever
her
shown people
stuff
your
going
crock
on.
pot? It says Freezer Meals 101. She got a decal made for her crock pot.
It's so cute. And yeah, Christy is making Cathy's lazy rouladen, and I'm about to make a chicken and rice casserole I just finished with the Mongolian beef. So that's where we're at. We are kind of getting close to the end of day 2. We're at 30 plus 3 individual or lunch size meals.
That's low for
very low.
Day 1 totals.
But we did stuffed shells, like stuffed
Stuffed
manicotti
shells
and stuffed
manicotti.
shells. And so, and
red sauce.
we had a lot of kids here. Like we
They were
took some
distracting
time.
more than helpful today.
Well, we had a bunch of mine and a couple of yours, and it's been a full house today. So anyway, that's where we're at. But we will finish at 100 and something, believe it or not.
We really will. we really will.
We'll check in with you at the end of day 1.
I am now going to make Cathy's lazy rouladen. It's got a pound of ground beef, 1 medium onion that is diced small, half a pound of crispy bacon chopped up, and 1 cup of diced dill pickles. And today we have garlic. When you make it on the day of, you are going to add some gravy and make it with some potatoes. Cathy is a dear friend of Charlotte's that passed away a few years ago. And funny story, when I was at Costco buying the beef, I ran into her husband and her oldest son. So this is my shout out to Nate and Mark. It was kind of funny that I ran into them that day, and we had a nice little visit, and now I get to make her one of her meals, and that makes me feel special because she was a really, really great lady.
So this chicken rice and green bean casserole is kind of unique because you don't cook the rice before you put it in. And for that reason, it's really important that you use minute rice because any other kind of rice might not end up fully cooked. So we're using chicken that is already cooked and diced. So that way, this is just gonna bake in your oven really quickly. It's like 45 minutes. Actually 45 minutes, and then you remove the foil for 10 minutes. So actually it's more like an hour. So forget that I said it was quick, but it's an all-in-one, which is nice. And you're doing the chicken, some dry onion soup mix, cream of mushroom soup, cream of chicken soup, some whipping cream, sour cream, water, the minute rice, and then just some salt and pepper. And oh, did I mention green beans? We're doing frozen green beans also. So if this one turns out to be good, then we'll add it to the club, but it has to be really good to get in there. So we shall see.
I'm going to make Cowboy Beans. This looks really good. I saw it the other day and I knew we were doing our big cook, and I knew it was still summer and this would be good for camping, and I just thought this is going to be great for freezer meals. It's called Cowboy Beans. It's got a pound of ground beef, 1 medium onion diced, bell pepper, garlic, onion powder, bacon, bacon cooked and crumbled, a little bit of brown sugar, 2 cans of 28 ounces each baked beans. Those are big cans of beans. Some barbecue sauce and some Dijon mustard. This is going to be delicious. And how it's going to be cooked is you're going to thaw it and you're going to put it in like a Dutch oven or a heavy casserole dish, and you're going to cook it covered for 1 hour at 350, and it should be so hot and bubbly and thickened and awesome. I can't wait to try this one. Time for corn chowder. This is the best corn chowder you are ever gonna have. We make it almost every time we do a mega meal session, and sometimes I even make it on the side when I run out, because it's something that I have every ingredient in the house. I can throw it together. You can make it grow if you got more people showing up, and it's really good with homemade biscuits. It's really good with cornbread. It's just really, really good. It's an easy one. We have a chopped onion, a can of corn, or you can use frozen corn, creamed corn as well, evaporated milk, cream of mushroom soup, 2 cups of chicken broth, and the best part, bacon, crumbled. And then you just reheat it on the stove. It's so easy and it's so delicious, and you will love this recipe. We're gonna do one of our favorites, which is Southern style ground beef casserole. It's super simple and super tasty. It's ground beef, half a cup of chopped onion, some green pepper that's chopped, kernel corn, tomato sauce, Worcestershire sauce, chili sauce, salt and pepper, and then optionally you can put shredded cheddar in a bag, and we do that because it's delicious. The best part about this, it's so easy to make. You're gonna just do it on the stovetop. You heat it until it's bubbling, you sprinkle your cheese on it, you let it melt, and then you serve it. Sometimes at our house, we like to have a little starch with it. We'll do like rice, or we kind of like it on crispy potatoes that I do in my active fry, like in my air fryer. And otherwise you could do it in the crock pot. You could just do it on low for 3 to 5 hours, and then again, sprinkle the cheese on if that is your jam. Enjoy.
another new to us recipe. We are going to do chicken spaghetti. We've never done chicken spaghetti before. I'm also realizing as we're doing these that this time around we're doing a lot of cream of whatever soups, which is kind of odd for us. We always use a few, but we never use this many. But anyway, we are trying to figure out what recipes work well and what don't, and so here we are. For this recipe, we're actually cooking the spaghetti noodles ahead, and we're gonna cook them a little bit under what they should be so that you don't end up with mushy noodles when you're reheating. Then we're doing 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup, some chicken broth, some chicken breasts that are already cooked and chopped, some diced green pepper, some diced red pepper, onion, garlic, olive oil, seasoning salt, cayenne pepper. I'll add more to our families than to Christy's because we like things spicier. Salt and pepper. And then I put 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese in a medium-sized bag that I'm gonna staple so that we can add that to the top when we bake this. But I'm also gonna mix a 1.5 cups of cheese into this so it'll be nice and creamy and delicious. I think this is gonna be a good one, but time will tell.
I am going to do an old-fashioned country casserole that's got everything in it. It's got the ground beef, tomato soup, and cream of mushroom soup, which I'm really interested in. It's got a can of evaporated milk, salt, pepper, Worcestershire sauce, garlic, onion flakes, and Parmesan cheese. And then you mix all that in together right with your egg noodles. And we're gonna put that in the bag. So when the day comes, we can just spread the noodle mixture into the pan and put our Parmesan cheese on it, and then you bake it uncovered 20 to 30 minutes at 350. I'm really looking forward to this one because it looks so unique, and hopefully it's a hit and it'll end up in our membership club. Take a minute here and just explain, if we haven't already in this video, when you are adding pasta to full meals that you're going to then bake, you want to undercook it just a hair. These are egg noodles. They're regularly supposed to be cooked for 10 to 12 minutes. So when you learn how to cook pasta, you'll know that 10 means probably al dente. That'll be just have a little bite to it, and those extra 2 minutes will just make it softer. Well, I've cooked these for 8 minutes because they're going to get cooked again with all of this moisture in this bag when they go in the oven. So those other couple of minutes will be made up for. If I had cooked these for 12 minutes, how I would like to eat them right now, and then put them in the oven, they're gonna be way too soft. It'll all get mushy, and we don't want that. So the rule of thumb for cooking your pasta when you're gonna use it in a casserole is that you just want it to be a little bit undercooked so that it can finish cooking in the oven. That's all.
We had a little bit of ground beef left over, not a lot actually. I did pretty good with the estimating this time. And so we are just going to make a classic hamburger soup. And you can find the recipe in the description below. It's got your ground beef, some onion, bay leaf, carrots, peas, tomato soup, can of diced tomatoes, one of those big 28-ounce can ones, thyme, pepper, garlic, parsley, some beef broth, and you can add barley to it, but we don't have any since we didn't plan this recipe. And so we're just gonna add a note on the bag that says to add the barley on the day we cook it. So this is a nice hearty one, and it will be great when fall kicks in.
Okay, that's the end of day 1.
So that was a weird day 1 because we did so much cooked pasta.
Yes.
So much cooked
And so
pasta.
much cooked chicken.
Yeah, and we stuffed like shells and manicotti.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of got less done in a way, but most of the meals we did today are like pre-cooked, like everything in it is pre-cooked.
It really, a lot of them were. It's going to be just reheats. It's going to be easy.
Tomorrow we're doing a lot of like chicken dump style, and like tomorrow it'll still be in this same video, just so you know, but in our world it's tomorrow that we're doing
The magic of doing.
you know, some of those more like really fast to put together. Garlic butter shrimp's pretty fast to put together.
Yes, it is.
There's pizza
Chicken with
buns.
marinades. And then it's going to be the shrimp. Yeah, the shrimp. The seafood curry is a little bit complicated, but
Yeah.
we don't cook the penne with that anymore, do we?
It's worth it. Like that one's worth it. So we do have one more pasta to cook tomorrow.
But it's so
It's
good.
so worth it. It's gonna be great. So let's show you. We do the big reveal. Now, keep in mind, there is double this, but some of it's at Christy's house. So far, day 1, we've got, ta-da! So we have quite a lot of things.
Plus, there's more in your other one because
Yeah.
some of the foil tray ones I
So
put away in the
we
other
don't
one.
usually do as many trade recipes as we did this time, and so because of that we had to use my other freezer so that we could get things to freeze so that when we put things on top of this, it's not going to like spill over, like have the sauce spill over. Anyway, that's just something we've learned over the years. The alternative to that is you can put a cardboard piece down so that it sits on the cardboard and doesn't spill over. We're pretty happy with day 1. It, like I said, it was such a hot day. Thankfully, Christy brought her fan. But we are at 58 full meals, dinners, family size, and 3 lunch size or individual size.
Yeah.
So for 2.
We kind of did stuff on the fly. Fly. It's been a long day. Sorry, kids. We had... Charlotte explains when she's making it, but there was a couple of mishaps with like the beef and what's the other one? Oh, did we end up with 58 even though we had 3 Mongolian beefs?
Yes, because we had an odd number of the stuffed shells.
Right. See?
So it all worked.
It all works.
It all worked, and
We have extra manicotti.
our hair is like fuzzier. We both have naturally
it's
curly hair, so
humid.
it's like, and our makeup is different.
Mine's holding in there pretty good.
But we're here and we're done day 1.
I feel really good. Like I'm a little stiff. My feet are starting to get sore, but we had a nice lunch. We had a snack station today.
Yeah.
That is key. And it was really good. And we discovered a new way to eat salsa chicken.
Yes, I put salsa chicken, which is one of our freezer meals, in, not the ones we're doing today, but from last session, in the crock pot. I put 2 bags because I knew Christy's family might eat here or might eat there, whatever. I put 2 bags in there. And my husband, when he got home, he was like, is there a side to this?
And we're like, no.
No.
You're on your own.
You cook your own side. Like, you want rice or pasta, you cook that yourself because we're doing this. And so he put it on buns, sliders.
He's like, I'm just gonna put this onto this slider bun. And it's awesome.
It's so good. So now salsa chicken sliders. So those of you that have that recipe, go make some salsa chicken sliders with it. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow, which will be today for you.
See you next.
Good morning.
Good morning. We're here for day 2. How are your feet today?
My feet are not too bad. This part of my back is sore.
My back is okay. Last night when I went to bed, I thought, oh, tonight would have been a good night for a foot rub, but I didn't have one. And then this morning when I got up, that first walk on the carpet, I was glad it was carpet, but I'm like, oh, my feet are a little sore this morning. They're okay now. I'm back in my shoes, in my awesome dress and my shoes today.
Remember, right, about the shoes?
Gotta wear shoes when you're doing this because A, safety, if you drop something you don't, well, I mean, they're not steel toe, but you know, and B, comfort. We're on our feet.
Yeah.
It's a long day.
You're on your feet a long time. If you're just doing like a few, 5 freezer meals or whatever, whatever. Just, you don't have to wear shoes.
But these mega sessions.
Yeah, you need shoes.
Maybe your fancy mat for washing dishes? Maybe we should have
oh yeah.
like a comfort. We're getting older.
We are. Maybe the comfort mat wouldn't be a bad plan.
We'll get them for each other for Christmas.
Yesterday I realized that I forgot to mention that when you're doing freezer meals, one of the really important things is that you get the air out of the bag because air is your enemy and that's what causes your freezer burns. So you might notice in the overhead videos that you'll see that we're always getting, like, sometimes we mix it with the bag with air in there because that allows us to mix it a little easier. But then we reopen the bag and get all of the air out before freezing it. And we like to freeze the bags flat because then they take up less space. If you have an over your fridge style freezer and that's all you have, then what you can do is freeze them flat and then move them up so that they're stacked like books in a bookcase. And then you can get the most space use out of your freezer. So anyway.
So if you wanted, which we really want you to, you should subscribe and you should like and you should comment, but you should also join us over on our Facebook group because there are 17,000 people in there that are interested in freezer cooking. It is the nicest Facebook group on the planet.
They're so sweet and encouraging, and there's people that have the knowledge of
They've been doing
it for years and
freezer
years.
meals for years. Great advice in there. And somebody recently talked about how they set up their freezer meals, how they rotate what's going to be this week's meal. She had a setup. She had bins.
And people share their photos of their freezers. And so, I mean, I do mine a certain way, but other people that do have like that over the fridge freezer only or have a chest freezer or whatever, there's different ways, of course, that you have to do freezer meals for that. And so people share the actual photos of that, and it's super helpful.
It is very helpful. And it's just little things that you don't think about until you see somebody else do it.
Totally.
And it's awesome. So make sure that you subscribe to this channel, that you like this channel, comment below, give us some feedback. We love to hear what you think of our recipes and what you think of our videos, and come and see us over in the Facebook group because it really is a little slice of internet heaven.
It is. Nobody is like,
no
one's
cranky
mean
people
in there. Or you have all your like nasty comments happening in other groups and
Not
little
in our
fights
group.
breaking out.
And I'm not issuing this as a challenge.
No. Please do not join the group just to make it nasty because we love that it is not nasty.
It's a really great place to hang out and learn about freezer cooking and get to know some of our fans. Are you fans? Some of our group. I feel like you're one of us.
Sometimes, like some of you, I actually like Sue.
Shout out to Sue. Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, Southern Alberta there for sure.
I feel like some of these people, like, they feel like friends now. Like, it's, anyway, so, and my goodness, like, some of you that are commenting here on YouTube, I only know you by your YouTube name, so it would seem weird for me to shout that out, because I know that's not your actual name. But we do, like, we're starting to recognize you and to like be excited to hear from you. And so anyway, so we're just that's just awesome. So
we're ready to get started today. What do we have today?
So today we're doing our seafood meals. We only have 2 seafood meals this time because in the coming weeks we're going to be doing like a salmon marinades video, and so that's going to end us up with some salmon meals, so we don't need to be doing them today. And we're also doing a little bit less ground beef this time because we're doing a ground beef video coming up, and we're doing next week we're doing hamburger patties. 3 different kinds of homemade hamburger patties that you can keep in your freezer. And I know we're a little late in the summer to be doing this, but you know, you'll know for next summer.
And there's still lots of summer left.
Totally.
You'll make them and you'll cook them and you'll eat them and you will write to us and tell us how fabulous they were.
And they're going to be awesome. So we have a little less ground beef than we usually do this time. But today we only have 1 more pasta. For some reason, when I was choosing the recipes, I chose so many pasta
There was a lot
dishes.
of pasta happening yesterday.
And we do not usually do that because it's a lot of work to like cook your pasta and drain your pasta and go back and
it's hot.
Cool it and drag it.
It gets hot in Canada, people. I don't know if you've heard this before, but we're having a little mini heat wave. And so we have the fan going, and so we're cooking the pasta. And
it's heating up the kitchen. So today we have 1 pasta recipe left.
We're doing it early.
It's a goodie.
It's a gooder. It's a gooder.
So we're doing that, and we're doing a lot of our like chicken dump style recipes, and those are so fast to put together. So we're thinking today is actually like we went late yesterday. We don't usually go past supper, but we did. I had 2 appointments in the day that I had to leave for and left Christy on her own, which we've done over the years.
It's happened.
You've had dentist appointments for your kids. And,
I had an emergency dentist appointment.
Totally.
Because my husband hit my face with a pew. Church pew. It's a really weird story. I'll tell you about it later. I'm good.
It was not abuse.
It was not abuse. It was a total freak accident.
So
I don't have a whistle when I talk, so I'm okay.
But like literally over the years, we've been doing this over 10 years. So there have been times where one of us has had to leave or had an appointment that we couldn't work around or couldn't get out of. And so it's not like, you know.
Never mind COVID. I had to go pick up my son in the middle of school one day.
That's true.
To just, we've had an outbreak, you have to come. Okay.
So we've had workarounds. We've had to go and do like school lunch stuff and
yes.
So
we make it work.
We make it work. So yesterday we did go long because I wasn't here for part of the day, and we had all those stinking pasta meals.
And today she's leaving, well, not early, but you have a deadline. Like you have a date.
I am going to the Alanis Morissette concert tonight.
I'm kind of a little jealous. I know probably every word to every song on Jagged Little Pill.
And I so don't. And my husband got these free tickets.
You'll know more than you know when you get there.
I know ironic.
Yeah, you'll know more than that.
Yeah, and what's the like her signature one? It's like
You Oughta Know.
You Oughta Know. There you go. That
know.
may or may not be about Dave Coulier.
Right, Dave Coulier. Cut it out.
Right.
Okay.
So, I will. So I'm doing that tonight, and so
I'll be packing because I'm going to a family reunion tomorrow.
We have to end.
We have to end. We have busy lives. That's why we need freezer meals, because we have busy lives.
And 9 kids between us. So
yeah, we do.
And
you keep adding because now your kids are getting married and stuff.
It's true.
And they're having babies.
It's true. So here we are. And we're gonna get started because I'm talking too much.
I hear you. Let's do it.
Here we go. Day 2. We are trying another new one, and it is a pineapple teriyaki chicken. So I have cubed 4 chicken breasts in each bag. We're gonna do 1 cup of teriyaki sauce, 1 cup water, 2/3 of a cup brown sugar. It's a lot of brown sugar, so I might do like half a cup. A lot of carrots that have been peeled and chopped in our prep. 1 can in each bag of pineapple chunks. I'm assuming drained. It doesn't say that, but I'm gonna drain them. 2 peppers. So I'm gonna use red peppers. Again, those are already prepped. Some garlic and a can of water chestnuts. And this one can be cooked in the slow cooker or in the oven. And I'm just experimenting with this one because I think it actually might be a good one to make individual portions of. And then I could give that to my dad. So we'll see how this goes. If you were doing them in individual portions and you wanted to cook them in the oven, you would just put them in foil containers, about half of the ingredients in each one. One of the things about pineapple is my kids always used to fight over who got the juice when I drained it. So I forgot to mention that, but when you drain the pineapple, you might want to save the juice because then you've got free pineapple juice. Or, as it turns out, we've got pineapple juice in some of our recipes today. So you could also use them for the seafood curry or one of the other recipes we're using pineapple juice for. This is turning out to be a really colorful one, which I love because I always think that it signifies that it's healthy, which it kind of does. So anyway, before I put the teriyaki sauce in there, it was looking kind of rainbow-like, and I like that.
I'm going to make garlic butter shrimp. This one is good for a variety of reasons. A, it's just plain old good. It has a lot of butter and it has olive oil in it, and it's got seasonings. And when we first found this recipe, it was meant to go right into a pasta. So you would cook this in a skillet with everything, and then you would cook your pasta separately, and then you would mix it in. And something I'll mention about when you're cooking with pasta and you're not using a lot of sauce with it, you want to reserve some of that starchy water that you have in your pasta pot, and you can add it in. And it'll make your sauce go a little bit further without reducing a lot of the flavor, and it gives your pasta some slip, and it will allow it to really mix nicely. So I always reserve about a cup or maybe 3/4 of a cup. Sometimes I only use a couple of tablespoons of it back into my pasta, but it is nice to have. Otherwise, you can use this garlic butter shrimp with steak, with chicken, on skewers, have it all by itself and enjoy your shrimp. And you could make it to mix into other things like dips and other kinds of hors d'oeuvres or something. It's just a really nice all-around recipe. This seafood curry pasta is one of our favorites. There was a period of time where we did it every single freezer meal session, and we've just added so many new things recently that we haven't done it in a while, and I put it on my must-haves list. It's a bit of a weird one, but the flavors are so good. It is really delightful. So it's got scallops and shrimp in it. We package them separately in medium-sized bags and attach them to the main portion of the bag. It's got onion that's thinly sliced, 6 mushrooms that are sliced, sun-dried tomatoes in oil, and it's drained, and it's so good. It just adds, again, another layer of flavor. 1.5 teaspoons of curry powder, 1/2 cup of pineapple juice. Again, super weird, super awesome. It gets weirder. A can of cream of mushroom soup and a can of evaporated milk. Then you cook all this together and you add in the shrimp and the scallops until they're cooked through, and then you put it with penne pasta. And we've done it 2 ways. In the past, we've cooked the penne and made it all together as an all-in-one meal. That's just kind of a reheat, and then you add in your shrimp and your scallops. But we have found that it wasn't always that big of a benefit to add it in. It made the bag over bursting, and it's pretty simple to just keep some penne on hand and make it at the time. So we've kind of switched to doing that. So we just make it as a meal and add it to the penne on the day of. But it really is delicious, and I hope that you get a chance to try it. These containers are my favorite thing to use when prepping freezer meals. when we first started doing it, you just needed a bunch of big bowls, but our freezer meals, like our mega sessions, sometimes I'm prepping 40 cups of onions, sometimes I'm shredding 40 cups of cheese. Actually, if you look back through our YouTube channel, there is a video of me doing cheese. Sometimes I really do have that much. It's hard to tell maybe today because they're all white, but we have mozzarella, minced onion, and then chunky diced onion. And I have put cheddar cheese, I have put ground beef in these. You let it cool a bit before you put it in because they're plastic, but they fit nicely. Like I can stack them and put 2 on top of each other and 2 beside each other in my fridge. So when I do my prep the day before, I can get a lot of it in.
And where did you get them?
I got them I'm getting there. I got them at the dollar store. These are from Dollarama. They're called Snap Tight. And this is kind of literally the only thing I use them for. When I'm done freezer meals, we wash them all up, I stack them, I put them in my basement until it's time for next time.
Our next mega session.
It's true.
So I just thought I'd share that, or I just thought I'd make Christy share that, because
we have another video that is for tips and tricks of how we do freezer meals and how to do them with a friend. And we realized we had set out so many things but I didn't think to bring these with me. So now that we have them here, we're gonna just have a little chat about them.
Yeah, because they're super handy, and the nice thing is they stack in the fridge a lot better than the bowls, because the bowls are higher, they take up more room.
Yep, and I didn't have enough of them. This way they stack, they store nicely, and yeah, I can fit a lot of stuff in my freezer, or in my fridge.
Nest them when you're not using them.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Let's continue. We are so excited about this next recipe. We made it quite a few sessions ago. Actually, I'm gonna figure out which session we made it in. I'm gonna put the link right up there. But it was the first time we had made it, and man, was it good. It was, so this is Candy's sausage and cheese rigatoni. Candy has Make Ahead Meal Mom, which is a great site for freezer cooking recipes, and she's also in our Facebook group, so she shares some great tips in there. I'm going to put the link for this full recipe in the description below so that you can make it too. But Christy had hers, one of hers, when her brother came to visit, and so she's got also like those warm fuzzy memories with it. I couldn't even wait to have ours. As I was making it, I knew how good it was gonna be, so I had it, we had it that day that we were making freezer meals, and then the second tray, we had it at another time, but they were just so good. It is rigatoni, which we've cooked up, and this is, hooray, our very last cooked pasta dish of this mega meal session. Then we're gonna do some onion, finely minced, some Italian sausage, garlic, crushed tomatoes, heavy cream. Now it's supposed to have dried basil. It says or chopped fresh basil, and I pulled out my dried basil, and then I looked over, and in my indoor herb garden I had this gorgeous, lovely smelling fresh basil, and so of course I'm going to take the time to chop some of that and add the fresh basil into this. Some salt and pepper, and then, so we're gonna mix all that together, not the pasta, but the sausage and all of that. And then we're gonna kind of layer some sauce, and then some pasta, and then some shredded mozza cheese and Parmesan, and then some more sauce and pasta. And so it's like a layered pasta bake. I am gonna keep one of these out for tomorrow night to eat for dinner because it's just that good. I can't wait for it. The other one will go in my freezer, so I'm gonna make one of mine in one of our just regular casserole dishes. And then we're gonna do the others in foil trays. We are doing a lot with foil trays this time, a lot. But anyway, I have to mention that I am doing the sauce in 2 batches because Christy's family has mild ground sausage and we are using spicy for our family. So this is our last recipe of this session with sausage. So I'm able to just mix them up in the bowls that I was storing the cooked sausage in, which will be nice and handy. Less dishes is always a win for me. So you're gonna see me doing up 2 bowls, just if you wonder. When you make it for yourself, you make just 1 sauce. I'm rambling now. That's it. This is amazing. Check that out. Candy's sausage and cheese rigatoni, link below.
Going to be a repeat for us because we enjoyed it so much the first time we tried it. It is chicken drumsticks. It's 3 pounds of chicken drumsticks, some paprika and cumin and salt and garlic, and then you add in your favorite barbecue sauce, but you reserve some of the barbecue sauce to keep in a medium bag, and I'll tell you why. These are slow cooker drumsticks, and you're like, what? They're not going to be very crispy. What's a good drumstick without it being crispy? Well, you're going to put it, when it's done slow cooking, you're going to put it on a foil lined tray or a greased tray, and then you're going to broil it and baste a little bit more of that extra barbecue sauce on it. And you're going to let it crisp up and darken and bubble and do all the nice things that a good barbecue drumstick should have. And we enjoyed it so much, we had to do a repeat right away. It was really good, and it's nice for summer. These would also be good to do on the barbecue if you wanted, but they really are called slow cooker chicken drumsticks. I'm going to make Asian-inspired honey vanilla chicken. I found this recipe in a stack of printed out recipes that I found when I was looking for something else. And I saw it and I said to Charla, this could be a freezer meal. It looks delicious. It's a little bit weird, but I think we will like it. It's got soy sauce, orange juice, hot pepper sauce, vanilla extract, light brown sugar, honey, minced garlic, Italian seasoning. That's to me the weird part because this is kind of an Asian style dish, and sesame oil and vegetable oil. So then we have the meat in here, and it's literally going to be a dump recipe where we're going to pour in all of these things and make the marinade. And when you cook it, you should let your marinade, sit and do its thing, but then this one actually should be broiled, it says in the instructions. So we'll see about the broiling. We'll see, there's many ways to cook chicken. Maybe the oven is better, but maybe skillet is good, but maybe broiling's the way to go. I'm really curious, so I'm gonna see. Oh, I know why. The original recipe says 2 pounds of skinless, boneless chicken breast cut into strips. So we have it here for chicken thighs, boneless, skinless chicken thighs today. It is supposed to be broiled, but we're just gonna use our cooker's intuition and cook it however suits us best on the day that we decide to cook it. But we'll let you know how it goes. This recipe is a new one to us, and it is called Whiskey Pineapple Chicken. Charla shared it one day on the Freezer Meals 101 page, and I took one look at it and I said, yeah, we got to do that one. So it is on our list this time. It's pretty simple. It's got a 3/4 cup of bourbon or whiskey. In our case, we have selected Alberta Premium. So it's a local whiskey, and it was on the cheaper end of things, which is especially nice if you're cooking. 3/4 cup of pineapple juice, 1/2 cup of barbecue sauce, 4 garlic cloves, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and chicken. And we are doing boneless, skinless chicken thighs. When you do this, we can whisk it all together and dump it in on top of the chicken, or we can do each one individually. And when you go to cook it, This one you want to let marinate for as long as you can, like maybe overnight, 3 or 4 hours at the least. And you want to grill it. Do it on the barbecue, and you can brush additional barbecue sauce right on before you take it off the grill. And this looks delicious. If you wanted to, you could do it in the oven. If it was maybe winter outside and you weren't up to barbecuing, you could do this in the oven easily on a baking sheet in a 400-degree oven.
Asked if we could make pizza buns this time because it's been a long time since we made them, and she's right. We kind of rotate around with the recipes, and this one, it's been a while since it made the rounds. So this is nice because it's super kid friendly, and we've got cubed ham, mozzarella cheese, salami, pepperoni, onion, pizza sauce. If you want, you can put a can of mushroom pieces in there. My kids are super grossed out by canned mushrooms, so we're not doing that. And you're supposed to put green pepper in there, but the green peppers in our area were like nasty looking. So I bought all the green peppers that I could at the 2 stores that I went to, and so I knew that we would run out at some point, and this is the recipe that we have run out for. I can add a note that we can add them on the bag, or we can have them without the green peppers. It's not gonna be the end of the world either way. And that's just a reminder also that if you're doing a recipe and you're missing an ingredient or you have to substitute an ingredient, like, that's okay. This doesn't have to be perfect, and you just do the best you can. So this is gonna be pizza buns. On the day that you make this, you're gonna thaw this mixture. You're gonna cut buns in half, put them on a baking sheet. You're gonna spoon this mixture on top of your buns and bake it all together in your oven. It only takes 15 minutes, so it's a super fast weeknight meal, especially if you've got other things on the go. And like I said, super kid friendly. Next, we are making honey teriyaki chicken. And this is based on a recipe that I found that I thought would just work really well as a freezer meal, but you're supposed to use this honey teriyaki sauce, and I couldn't find it at any of the stores. So I'm not sure if it's just that it's an American thing and we can't get it in Canada, or if I just was unlucky this time. But I figured, well, I have honey and I have teriyaki, so I can make my own honey teriyaki. So we're using chicken thighs, honey and teriyaki, garlic, basil, rosemary, and chicken broth. It does call for some brown sugar. I'm going to use less than it calls for, but this sounds like it's going to be really delicious. I'm actually going to use fresh rosemary because I have it, and so why not? I forgot, but I've got it in my herb garden, so when I went to take it out of my dried stuff, I was like, no, I'm gonna use fresh. So here we go with that.
In 2012, my husband and I went on a trip to Jamaica to go to a friend's wedding, and we got to have Jamaican jerk chicken. Well, it wasn't Jamaican jerk chicken, it was just jerk chicken on the beach. And that was when I discovered that I loved Jamaican jerk. And it made it special because we're on the beach and it's all the everything, right? And it was done on a barbecue, and wow, it was just so good because we're by the ocean. So we tried to recreate it at home, and we've got it pretty close here. So this is chicken thighs, boneless, skinless. We've got 1/3 cup chopped green onion, 1/4 cup of lime juice, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, some soy sauce, liquid honey, and then we use Jamaican jerk spice that we buy at Bulk Barn. In this case, I'm going to have it all mixed in a bowl together, and then we're going to divide it between the bags and then sprinkle the onions in on top at the end. And you may recognize these hands as being my sons who helped me with the corn chowder.
I am inventing a recipe, which I always do at the end. And this is going to be just a pasta sauce. And I know we've made a lot of pastas this time, but I don't know. I'm just thinking, like, with this new grandbaby coming and one of our daughters is having surgery in a few weeks. So I want really easy, like, meals that we can just make quickly and will be super ready. So this is smoked garlic sausage that I've just fried up, and I'm going to be doing a Cajun Alfredo smoked sausage pasta sauce. I think it's gonna be delicious, but we'll see because I'm inventing it. So I'm going to do heavy cream, Parmesan cheese, the garlic smoked sausage that's been fried up, and Cajun seasoning. That's it. It is the end of day 2.
Ta-da! We made it. We are still upright, and I am not quite sure how.
And this is what my freezer looks like. And I will show you my other freezer, which is way messier. This is like the freezer that not as many people see.
It's not the show freezer.
No, it's not the show freezer. And Christy's got, the other half of the meals at her house. Mm-hmm. So we did 102 full dinners.
Plus 3 lunches.
Or individual size.
Individual. Yeah.
So, or they're really more for 2, but whatever.
So it's 100 plus. We did 100 plus meals. Yesterday
was awesome. And our
crazy.
biggest challenge, other than me choosing all these pasta meals and the cooked cubed chicken, which, was more prep, but our biggest challenge was honestly the weather. We, it's hot.
I think this is the hottest we've done this in.
It's 31 degrees right now, 32. It's 32 degrees right now. Celsius, which is...
like 90? It's hot out there.
It's hot, and I know some of you, I've got...
Texas, we hear you laughing.
You're like,
Arizona,
way over 100 degrees. And I know in our last video, our slow cooker freezer meals, we had people in the comments saying that's nothing. We're at well over 100 right now.
Australia has entered the chat.
Right. So, but for us, this is really hot, and again, we didn't have air conditioning, but we did have Christy's nice little fan there.
Fan, it was awesome.
So that
did
was
its job.
Good.
But yeah, we have 102 meals, and I feel so much better. I feel so much better that we're done.
Yeah.
This was a lot. And my feet today flew by. Yesterday at the end of the day, it was it was an extra long day, but my feet were sore, my shoulders, my hips. Today, we're at the end of the day, but I feel kind of spry. I feel like we hit the home stretch, and I feel good.
I'm gonna get changed and go to a concert. So we're not even completely wiped, which is fantastic.
Amazing. Yeah.
So hopefully this helped you to see that you can do this for yourself at home, and you can save so much time and money, but more importantly, the mental space and the sanity.
The sanity it saves. Join us in our Facebook group. Join us on our membership plan. It is awesome in the membership group because you can do a lot of these recipes that we've already done. It spits out the shopping list for you. You can take
all the work's done for
all
you.
of the work out of the planning and just join in. Subscribe, like us, leave a comment below. And I'm going to give a special shout out to my son Van, who did cans for me yesterday, and you're going to see, you saw his hands in some of the videos. He helped with the Jamaican jerk and the corn chowder. And he's 12 and he's awesome, and I'm just so glad he's willing to help and he's here to help.
He has always been a big helper for us, and I'm telling you, like, we started this when he was little, and
He was in
like
diapers.
this, I mean, he was not opening cans when he was in diapers, but when he was like this big, like couldn't, see over my counter, he was helping us with cans, and he loves that electric can opener, always has, and he has been a huge help, not just this time, but lots of
even
other
with
times.
the prep, he helps me do the cheese, he helps me do the onions, and I think we have machines that help. He's the machine operator. He runs the the food processor and the onion chopper, and I think you give a man a power tool, it doesn't matter how old he is, he's going to use it.
Totally. We're going to stick a video right there of how you can save the most possible money so that you can get the most out of your grocery dollars, because we know a lot of you, like us, are hurting in the grocery spending area, but this saves us so much, and we've learned some tricks to save even more, so you can check that out. Thank you for joining us today. We just appreciate you being here.
We really do, and I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Happy cooking.